Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Memory Keeper. I'm your host, Bram, and in today's story, I'm embarrassing myself in my own very country of origin.
Join Bram on an exciting journey, sharing travel stories that celebrate the power of memory. Through these stories, Bram raises awareness and support for both patients and caregivers, fighting Alzheimer's in honor of his wife, Sherry, who now resides in memory care. Without further ado, here's today's episode of The Memory Keeper.
For a Dutch person, this title must be as close to abracadabra as it comes. It's the Dutch equivalent of what we call 911 in the United States. The essence of the service is, of course, to provide healthcare service as close to the incident as possible and as quickly as possible. And when you live in the United States for a long time, you start forgetting how incredibly responsive that 911 service really is. But of course, we visit my homeland every now and then, and one day we were there watching the World Cup final between Spain and Holland, our orange team, and we were at my sister's condo in Amsterdam. What a day it was, our nurse being tested. My dear spouse, however, had what looked like symptoms of heart or digestive pain in her chest and was stretched out on her bed. So I called what in Amsterdam is the US equivalent of a primary care or urgent care virtual nurse, who evaluates what may be needed or not. As a by now Americanized Dutchman, however, I fully expected there to be an ambulance in less than 10 minutes. Yet, I obviously was lost in translation. The woman on the receiving side of my urgent call was a very well-trained person who absolutely wanted to avoid having to send an ambulance. At least, that's how I perceived it. Good afternoon, what can I do for you? My wife has chest pains and needs to be seen quickly. Well, what's her name? What's your name? The address? What are the symptoms? Where are you now? Tell me about... And so on for 10 minutes. With me increasingly becoming seriously frustrated with this wound, while I shared my displeasure openly with her. I told the woman that we could take care of the formalities later, but that we now first needed to take care of my wife. She obviously didn't feel that way, as if she and I had very different expectations and, of course, medical experience. I decided to end this call by telling her I would deal with this in other ways and call her back if we needed her help. In the meantime, as luck had it, my wife slowly recovered, and in retrospect, she may have had palpitations or indigestion from our overseas traveling, and she slowly felt better. And by the way, Holland lost to Spain. The next day, the woman calls back to inquire about how my wife is doing. My dear sister picked up the phone to have the person tell her how unkind I had been to her on the phone the day before. Sis dutifully apologized on my behalf. Madame, don't you think that your response to a perceived medical emergency was perhaps a bit naive? As my brother told you, they live in America, and in an international city like ours, it should not be all that unusual to you that even asking for medical help means different things in different cultures. Well said, sis. Cultures do clash, even in your own home country. I hope you enjoyed this humbling story. It's truly an honor to share our stories with you. Next week's episode will take us to the other side of the Atlantic and tells the story of my parents attending our wedding in Massachusetts. For those of you who are not used to eating eel, this one will make you either LOL or cause you to have intestinal challenges. Be forewarned, I have called this story a slippery wedding present. My name is Bram, and I am the Memory Keeper.
Thank you for listening to The Memory Keeper. On behalf of Bram, we want to thank you for your help in raising awareness and support in the fight against Alzheimer's. If you feel inspired to make a difference, please consider making a charitable donation to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America in honor of Bram's wife, Sherry, by visiting thememorykeeper.org and clicking the button that says Donate. On our website, you can also sign up for our email list and receive the newest episodes directly to your inbox, as well as a full listing of episodes, show credits, and learn more about this program and why it exists. Lastly, if you enjoyed the series, we just ask you to share this episode with your friends and family, as well as subscribe to the show and follow us on social media at Memory Keeper Pod. Together, let's continue to raise awareness and make a difference in the fight against Alzheimer's. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you right here next week for another episode of The Memory Keeper.